Your business exists because you had the idea to start it. Everything begins in our minds. That's why your business results cannot outgrow your current level of thinking. Do you want to serve more clients, make more money, without working more or burning yourself out? Grow yourself first as a leader of your business, because that's who you are, a leader, even if you're the only person in your business right now. When you lead yourself first, the business results will always follow. My name is Maggie Perotin. I'm an international business and leadership coach, an expert in business mindset, strategy, and high performance. I created the Diamond Effect podcast to help you elevate your thinking, expand your perspective, and through it, grow your business without overwhelm. So let's get started. We live in the world of unlimited choices and opportunities, and options are available to us at the tip of the finger, especially with the AI, with Google, where knowledge is not a problem. The knowledge of the world is at our fingerprints. But then with that, the options are endless. And because of that, what I'm seeing is people are getting less and less clear on many things. Business owners get stuck or undecided for weeks on end. They're not sure of the direction they want to take, or they're switching directions too often, which slows down their growth because of those abundance of options, and with that, lack of clarity. So, in today's Diamond Effect podcast 237, I do want to talk about clarity and how having clarity allows you to move faster in your business and therefore create faster progress and growth. So, let's get started. So, do you often find yourself thinking, like, oh, should I do this today or that? Or having super long to-do list where you're spending a lot of time and energy bouncing between items on that list and not being sure where to start, or picking something, doing things throughout the day only to figure out at the end of the day that maybe they weren't the right things, that they haven't moved you forward, or you're having some opportunities, or you're having a dilemma on what to focus on your business because multiple things require your attention, but you have limited time. And that uncertainty really overwhelms you. And instead of fixing one thing at a time or working through the projects you have, your brain resorts to not choosing, not deciding, and you being stuck and just reacting to the day-to-day needs of your business. Or even when you realize that, hey, maybe I need to upgrade my skills as a CEO, as a service provider in the area that I help my clients. And then you find yourself endlessly doing research and not being sure what type of courses, what type of help you need to take. Either you don't get help at all, or it takes you way too long to decide where you're losing opportunity of growth and doing things better 4 months as you're deciding. And I see that in my clients. But the thing with my clients is that when I meet with them and coach them weekly, I help them get clear on whatever it is that they need to get clear to simplify their business, to simplify their life, and get them to make decisions, act on it, and create progress. And when that happens week after week after week, this is a key big reason of why they get the results they get when they coach with me. But I also see it in my life and my business. I'm actually very good in being very clear on what is it that I want, what goals am I going after, what's important to me. And therefore, I created internal decision-making filters that don't allow me, or that really eliminate me being stuck in indecision or me wasting too much time and energy bouncing between options. I can make decisions like this on multiple different things in my business, in my life, because I have clarity on the most important areas that they turn into a decision filter. What do you need clarity on in your business in macro and micro level to move faster, to not waste energy on thinking, analyzing, going back and forth, getting overwhelmed, giving up, waiting months or weeks to make a decision so then you can move forward? So, the first couple of things you want to be very clear on are your mission of your business. Who are we helping at the macro level? How are we making the world a better place? And also in the micro level, at who is my ideal client? What are their challenges? The clearer you are on those things, the easier it will be for you to make decisions about marketing, not only the strategy, but also the actions you do, about the type of services you offer, the pricing of those services, which markets you want to keep or new markets to enter into, what to drop, what to continue. You also want to know the values. What are the values in my business? So, how do we behave? How do our clients experience us? Which then will improve the customer experience. It will also be easier for you to decide which opportunities are better for your business than others. It will make it much clearer for your employees, as long as you train them, on what is it that we pride ourselves in, how do we treat our customers, why things are important, and how to behave. Also get very clear on what are the personal values that are important to you, and what is it that you're not willing to compromise as you're growing the business, because that allows you to be very clear on your boundaries as a CEO, as a business owner. So, for example, when I started my business, I knew that I wanted to have certain flexibility of schedule, something that was very hard for me to achieve in my corporate life. And as a mom, I want to be able to spend time with my family, especially that quality time is what I value the most with people that are close to me that I love, right? With that one value being very clear, it is easy for me to say no to many opportunities that come up for me that might be on the weekends or in the evenings. I'm very selective to what I say yes to that falls outside of the times that I work in, because this is the time for my family, my husband, and even me, right? So, with this split second decision, I can say yes or no for the opportunity because it's rooted in the values that are key for me. The next thing you want to be clear on in your business is your vision. Where do you see yourself going in the next 3 to 5 years? And from that vision, you derive the goal for the next year, for the next 6 to 18 months. And when you're clear on that, then it's much easier to figure out, how do I get there? What do I need to do? What type of strategy do I need to adapt? And from that strategy, what actions I need to take in order to get where I want to be. Now, within creating a vision, there's a few more things you need to get clear on and decide on. And one of them is, why do I want that? So, what is my reasoning for having that long term vision and short term goals? Why is this important to me, to my business? If you have a team, why would that be important to them to go after and buy into your vision and your mission? Because, like with any business, going after some lofty goals, pushing yourself to grow, never comes without challenges, right? We all encounter challenges, even when it's when we go after the things we love and we're passionate about it. And when we don't have a strong why, our brain will not want to overcome those challenges. It will not want to solve for them. And even with your team, if they don't understand why we're doing what we're doing and why we're going after that, their brain will not want to overcome the challenges. So they will be telling you, oh, it's not possible. This is too hard, too much of this, too much of that, right? So having a strong why and being clear on what that is key. Then understanding, being clear on why you're committed to it or what's your commitment level and what are you willing to do and what are some boundaries that you're not willing to cross in pursuit of that goal. Because when you're clear on that, where do I want to be and where I am, then the next thing you need to be clear on, what are the gaps that I have right now in my skill set as a business owner and CEO, in my team, if I have a team or I need a team, or what are the gaps that I have in my processes or in the parts of my business that are preventing me from getting there. And when I'm clear on those gaps, I know now, as long as I'm committed, I know I'm committed, what to do to fill that. And I've been thinking about, why is it that business owners don't have that clarity? And of course, everybody is different. Some people have clarity on one thing and then they don't have clarity on the other thing. Any gap you have in being clear on the most important aspects of your business, macro and micro, is slowing you down. Know that, because without clarity, you cannot make a decision. When there's too many options and I'm not clear which way I'm going or why should I choose one option over the other, your brain shuts down. The research shows that our brain usually shuts down when it has more than 5 options. And if you think about the abundance of information and the abundance of options that as entrepreneurs who are considering every day, it's very easy for our brain to shut down and say, I'm not making decisions. This is too overwhelming. And then you spiraling and spinning and ultimately just staying where you are and dealing with the immediate things that don't really grow your business. The first reason people don't have the clarity that they should is they don't take time to pause and think. They don't have the CEO power hour that I teach my clients to have. It's very hard to get clear on things where you're just running like a hamster on the treadmill, going from one action to the other, from one fire to the other, from one meeting to the other. Okay, clarity requires a bit of space. It requires thinking things through, asking yourself certain questions, thinking about the answer. That's why even Bill Gates would take weeks sometimes each year going to a remote cottage to think, to get not only new ideas, but clarity on what he wanted to accomplish on the direction. Because you can't get that when you're in your business every day, serving clients, answering emails, doing this, picking up that. So having time to think, having time for you as a CEO is paramount. The second reason why business owners sometimes here are not clear is they don't set goals. They don't have a long-term vision. They don't even have a goal for the year that is ahead of them as to what they want to accomplish. And if you don't know where you're going, it's very hard to pick the path. So then almost every day or every week, you're deciding on that path, and that's very draining and it slows you down so much. Okay. The third reason I see for lack of clarity is not having certain skills or foundational knowledge that they need to get clear and make decisions. So the best example is really being clear on your ideal clients or on your clients' avatars, depending on the services you have and the markets you share. And that goes beyond the basics of their social status, their age, and whether they're female or male or whatever it is, right? Knowing your ideal client, meaning you really understand their life, you really understand what they're struggling with, what they want, what they cannot achieve on their own, and how your services help. How do they make decisions? What's important to them? And really sitting almost in their head in their daily life to understand where you fit and where you bring value. And if you don't have clarity on that, or you don't have a foundational knowledge and skill to get clear on that, then this slows you down because it makes your marketing less effective. And when your marketing is not as effective, you start doubting it yourself. You start doubting what works, what doesn't. And you also can't really determine with a scientific accuracy what that works, what doesn't, because you don't have a skill or knowledge to pinpoint you in the right direction. The clearer you are on what to do, when to do it, how to do it, why to do it, and so on. And the fifth reason why people are not clear is not priority. The fourth reason why business owners don't have clarity on many things is that they don't have anybody to talk things through, to brainstorm, to bounce ideas. Sometimes, especially with more complex challenges, thinking it through on your own is not enough. Having someone to bounce ideas off, bringing different opinions, different perspectives, opens up your knowledge to different areas that you haven't thought about, because as human beings, we all have blind spots, whether because there are blind spots because we're emotionally attached to the business, whether because they're blind spots because we just don't have knowledge in that particular area. So being able to brainstorm things brings more clarity. So having board of advisors, having fellow successful business owners who are not necessarily always in your industry, because sometimes when we surround ourselves with people with from only our industry, there is an industry bias, blind spots that happen. So having colleagues from and peers from other industries can bring you that different perspective. Having a coach, having a mentor, all of that helps. Just make sure that those are the people you can trust, and not only with that they're going to keep information or whatever you discuss confidential, but that they have knowledge and ability to bring a constructive perspective that's not clouded in one way or the other. And then the last reason why I see business owners lacking clarity in certain areas is not having a system where they prioritize the most important things first and then dealing with urgent and so on. Most business owners just react to the things that are happening in their business day to day, never really creating time for the important projects, for the things that they know will move their business forward. And without the system of prioritization, they're again just living day to day, reacting to the things, which then makes them feel like they're not in control of their schedule, of their businesses, and slows them down tremendously. And the last reason is lack of systems and processes, or even if they have certain systems and processes, very often they're not documented or they're not reviewed. Sometimes I see people documenting the process, but then the team is not trained and that process is not enforced. So there's something on the paper, but then everybody else, the business employees, they're doing something completely different, right? That lack of clarity of how we do things, why we do those things, and following the most important steps creates lost opportunities in getting better, in converting potentially more clients, retaining more clients, and getting better as a business, as a brand and service delivery. So like the simplest example is, let's say, sales process. If you don't have it mapped out and step by step with reasoning of why we do those things. And then nobody goes back to assess, let's say, whether you're the one. And then it's never looked at, and never, the sales conversations with potential clients are never assessed against the process. Then you never know where maybe things could have been improved, where maybe a lost opportunity could have been saved if we follow this step, or if that step was different. So having documented processes and simple system brings a lot of clarity, especially once you have employees, as to what they're supposed to do, what's important and what's not important, and how to get better, right? How to perform well as an employee. I know that one of the huge benefits that the clients who start working with me have very quickly in their business is clarity. Very quickly, I walk them through the process, whether it's a 3-step process in Diamond Effect Group or whether it's a 3 pillars of scaling for my one-on-one clients, on the most important things they need to be clear of as CEOs in order to then be able to make quick decisions and take quick actions in their business to start creating progress. That's where the weekly coaching is so powerful. Lack of clarity directly translates in your business slowing down, or in your team maybe doing things that are not the best for your business. The clearer you are in all aspects of your business, and you're able to communicate that to your team, the clearer they are. And when you're clear, you make faster decisions, you're more focused, you move faster, so you create more progress, more growth, and your life becomes way easier. So my challenge for you today is to think about, what is slowing me down? Where am I lacking clarity in my business that prevents me from making fast decisions, right? Where is it that I haven't decided, that I'm maybe in analysis paralysis mode? And what do I need to get clear on in order to move out of it? Have a fantastic week, and check in with Diamond Effect podcast episode next Friday. Bye. Thank you for listening today. If this podcast resonated with you, please come back. Also, you can leave a review on whatever platform you're listening. And if you have a suggestion, question, or a topic you would like me to talk about, let's get in touch via email. Email me at maggie@stairwaytoleadership.com. See you in the next episode.